Alright, man, so this is almost like an urgent video. It's urgent because I just woke up, as you can see from my face, right? I literally just woke up. Didn't even shower, didn't even... I'm just like, you know what? Look at my hair. It's already falling. Do you see how it's falling? Anyway, bro, I just had like 4 strands falling. Didn't even shower. I didn't even think... Well, I didn't brush my teeth. But I woke up and I had a dream, right? And I wanted to tell you about this dream. Because usually I believe, I'm like, if a dream is good, then it's coming from Allah. It's coming from God. And you should write down your dreams, by the way. For me, I became so good at remembering my dreams to the point that now I wake up and I'm like, I remember like 5 dreams all in one night. So this dream that I had, I felt like, right? I felt like God was trying to show me how to achieve everything that you want. And it's so simple. It's so simple to the point that in the moment when I was having the dream, it felt like this thing is so effortless. This thing's so easy. That's why I called it Effortless Rizq, by the way, like the program that I have. But it felt so effortless. So let me tell you about it. And the funny part about it, by the way, is that the dream came to me in a way where I was telling it to you. So it's almost like I was explaining the whole thing to you. And yet, at the same time, I was the speaker and the listener, which is so funny. Like, it's so funny. You'll never get to experience that while awake. So anyway, so what I was saying in the dream, and what I heard in the dream, is that you need to be able to fluctuate between 2 states. A state of having no thoughts, no mind, and then a state of knowing how to deliberately and consciously use the imagination that you have. So for example, right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm working, right? I'm doing things. I'm speaking. I'm producing. I'm creating. So in this state, I'm not even really thinking. I woke up, I came down, I opened up my phone, I started recording, and I started yapping. That's all I started doing. Like, I didn't really even have a script on what I'm supposed to be saying. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be saying. It's just now I've given myself up to the moment. I've given myself up to the flow that Allah is already making the world run in. And something is going to be produced from that. Now, obviously, this is not going to make you like the best speaker of all time. Like, you still have to go through practice and blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying, like, when you're able to achieve this state of no mind, of flow, whatever you do, it'll be as flawless as you're capable of. So for example, when you look at people who play sports, people say that when they play sports, they're best when they're not thinking, when they're in that flow zone. And that flow zone is the state of no thought. It's the state of no mind. You understand that people, they do sins just to achieve that state. Everybody wants that state. People, they drink a bunch of alcohol to silence the mind and then achieve a state of no flow. That's why when people are drunk, like, they're not acting weird. They're just being who they truly are. So if someone becomes abusive while they're drunk, it's because this is what they have bottled inside. So it comes out. And some people become really funny when they're drunk because that's what they have bottled inside. And that's what comes out. Don't drink, by the way. I'm saying that you can achieve this state of no mind without needing to go through all the sins. The sins harm you. You're still achieving no mind, but they harm you. Now you can achieve no mind by just flowing with the will of Allah. By just understanding that you are not this matter, you're not this body, you're not this brain, you're the one that's above that. You're the one you're the ruh, you're the spirit. So the spirit is not just contained in one body. The spirit, when the body dies, the spirit just goes out. It's like that. Depending on how good the body was, or how dense the spirit became in the body, which is a whole different topic. But listen, what I'm telling you right now is that throughout the day, you need to be able to just sit and have no thoughts coming in. Literally, sit and have no thoughts coming in. But also at the same time, you need to be able to know how to deliberately and consciously use your mind. Because imagination is part of creation. It's the seed of creation. You'll never be able to create things in your life before you imagine them. Everything that you've created in your life, you've imagined it before. Everything. I'm in this new house right now, and I took a pause, right? And I'm looking at everything around me, and things around me are beautiful. Like the backyard is beautiful, table is beautiful. Like, things are beautiful, alhamdulillah. But I'm like, I wasn't able to do such things if I didn't create it in my mind first. So I had to make my mind comfortable with like luxury or beauty or just beauty. So I started imagining more beauty. I actually started looking at more at beauty, more at beautiful things. I started almost like immersing myself in things that are beautiful. And then as a result, give it enough time, and then you'll see those same exact things that are beautiful in your own life. But now here's the thing. The seed is imagination, understand? The seed is imagination. But now, how do you manifest this imagination? How do you bring this imagination from the unseen to the seen? That's where you need the flow zone. That's where you need the state of no mind. Habibi, you do anything in a state of no mind, it becomes perfect. You play sports in the flow zone, perfect. You study in the flow zone, it becomes perfect. You work in the flow zone, it becomes perfect. I remember even when I was in high school, I don't know how, bro, but I used to not care about school back then. My dad came up to me and he was like, Hamad, if you don't get into university, like, I'm gonna be so disappointed, because he had really high hopes for me, right? He's like, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Like, what are these freaking grades? My average midterm was 60%, which is horrible, habibi. So when he came up to me and then he made me realize, like, dang, I'm supposed to actually start to do good in school, because I never even knew there was a thing called university, by the way. I was so silly back then. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Sorry, I'm back. My phone ran out of storage. So I was saying that, dang, like, I need to truly start doing well in school. So then what I started doing is that, first of all, I made the dua, right? I made the dua. I'm like, Allah, man, I need to get into some university. Can you please get me into a good university? And then I knew, I'm like, okay, then I need to get a higher average. So what I started doing is that as I was studying, when I was studying, I would study in a state of no thoughts. What started happening, by the way, is that I would even stay up late. I don't usually stay up late. Like, I would stay up late because I was so in the flow zone, I didn't want to break it. And that's the thing. When you're in that flow zone, you don't break it. So even if you're going to be breaking your normal schedule, it's okay. That's the flow zone. It's almost like that's the will of Allah flowing through you. So it's okay if you break your normal schedule. And that's what started happening. And as a result, I kept studying more and more and more. And it felt so effortless to the point that when I was studying, it didn't even feel like I was doing much work. But on the outside, if someone were to see me, they would be like, dang, bro, this guy is so smart. This guy studies a lot. And then as a result, I ended off the entire semester with an average of 86. From 60 to 86, which I thought was actually insane. Because I thought I was just the type of person that gets like 60. I'm like, if I get a 70, I'll be happy. But then I got an 86, which I got mad at after. I'm like, I should have gotten a 90, bro. Like, I was so made for a 90, but I don't know, whatever. But nowadays, when I'm working as well, I notice sometimes when I'm working, even my body is like, when I'm so into the flow zone, my body does not want to leave. And so as a result, I used to be like, no, man, I need to stick to the schedule. Millionaires, they sleep early, they wake up early. But then it hit me, I'm like, nah, bro, no one's ever actually achieved success from that stupid schedule that millionaires usually talk about. It's a fake schedule, by the way. The one that says sleep early and then wake up early and then make sure you do your bed. My bed is not even done at all. But that's the thing. Nowadays, I stay up late when the flow is telling me to stay up late. And by the way, bro, in the dream, what started happening in the dream, right? I was saying, and I was listening, saying things like, I'm like, go look at the clouds, right? Look at the clouds. The same one that's moving the clouds is also making the trees grow. The same one that's making the trees grow is also healing your wounds. The same one as healing your wounds is also making you not sick, like healing you from sickness. So now, if you just give up your will to the one that's doing all of this stuff, you'll also achieve the same result as all of this stuff. Effortless success. Literally, bro, effortless rizq. And when I was young, by the way, this one time, my dad and I, we slept on the roof back in Iraq. We used to do such things, which is so nice. We slept on the roof. And I remember I woke up in the morning and I would look at the clouds, right? My dad was still asleep. But I would look at the clouds and I was so young, bro. I'm like, bro, what the heck? Like, how are the clouds just moving without me noticing them? Like, I would look at them and I was like, okay, that cloud is right there. So I would take my eyes off of it. I look at it again after 20 seconds. I'm like, how did it move? I didn't even notice it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start watching this cloud move and I won't miss a single movement from this cloud. And I would look at it for 20 seconds and the cloud moves, but I was so immersed into the cloud that I didn't even notice the movement, to the point that when I regained my consciousness back, I'm like, it moved and I didn't even notice it, and I was looking at it the entire time. Because here's the thing, go look at a tree growing. Like, if you were able to stay awake for 24 years and then you look at the tree growing the entire time, you would not even be able to notice a single movement. Because you'll be so immersed in it, you won't be able to notice a single movement. And when you look at a wound, if you gotten hurt, you look at a wound, like, you can look at it period to period, day to day, and you'll be like, yeah, it's healing. But then watch it heal. Can you still watch the process happening? You can never watch the process happening for some reason. I don't know why. And I notice, I'm like, Allah is al-Zahir and Allah is al-Batin. The way everything's working in the mercy of Allah. Everything's working in the will of Allah, in the flow of Allah. And the flow of Allah, it's so obvious, but at the same time, it's so hidden. Do you see what I mean? This is this is the signature of Allah, where it's so obvious, like it moved, yeah, but it's so hidden when you were looking at it. And I'm like, this is what was going to happen to you. This is what's been happening to me. When you immerse yourself in the will of Allah, things will happen. They're so obvious, but at the same time, they're so hidden. But the only way for you to actually be able to see such things in your life is if you submit your will to this God. That's all it is. By the way, even I've noticed everybody that's successful, by the way, everybody successful, whoever it is, the first thought that came to my mind is Will Smith for some reason. I don't know why. But anybody who is famous, anybody who has money, all of these people, Habibi, first of all, they don't even know why they're rich. They don't even know how they're rich. All they know is just that I worked so hard, I was dedicated, I was this. But all of them, they all have one thing in common, is that they all went through this flow zone without even knowing. All of them. They went through the imagination process, so they all imagined themselves becoming this person that they want to become. And then they've given up themselves to this being, and then as a result, they were able to achieve those beautiful things. Understand that, by the way, Habibi. Allah, just because you're a kafir or you're an atheist, does not mean that God is not working through you. Understand that. God is working through everything. Everything. Otherwise, how can this God be a God? Everything, bro. Even me making this video, even the fact that the video had to pause because I ran out of storage, even that was made from the will of Allah. It's insane. It's insane, bro. So understand, no one knows why they're successful. No one knows how they're successful. The only way for you to become successful is if you just give up your will to this one being, to this one creator, and you'll notice you'll start doing things will start coming to you. You'll be like, this is such a coincidence, but a coincidence is the language of the God. You could literally say that, man. It's the language of the God. So if this was helpful, just let me know, man.